June 6, 1944, 07:30 hours. A forest near Pas-de-Calais, France. The air is cool and damp with morning fog, smelling of wet pine and diesel exhaust. The earth trembles, not from bombs, but from the idling engines of 600 Panther and Panzer IV tanks. This is the 116th Panzer Division, the Windhund. They are the elite. They are the expert solution, the Wehrmacht's mobile fire brigade, the armored fist held in reserve. Their commanders stand by their vehicles, maps spread on the hoods, smoking, impatient. They have been trained for this day for 4 years. They are professionals. They know the Allies are coming. They know the invasion must land here, at the shortest point in the channel, and they are ready to drive them in a storm of steel and fire back into the sea. 200 miles to the southwest on a strip of sand codenamed Omaha, that sea is red. The invasion is here, but it is not a storm. It is a slaughter. Men of the 1st Infantry Division are being crucified. They are not fighting tanks. They are being torn to pieces by a handful of machine guns, expertly sited in concrete bunkers. The expert Allied plan, the massive naval bombardment, has failed. The shells have fallen inland, leaving the German defenses untouched. The American soldiers are trapped, pinned between a rising tide and a buzzsaw of interlocking fire. They are victims. They are the by-the-book assault, and the book was wrong. The generals on the ships watch in horror. The beachhead is collapsing. The entire invasion, the fate of the war, is balanced on a razor's edge. In a stately chateau at Pas-de-Calais, General Hans von Salmuth, commander of the German 15th Army, sips his coffee. A radio man hands him the first frantic reports from Normandy. He scans them with the bored expression of an expert. He scoffs. He tells his chief of staff that it is exactly as the Führer predicted. A diversion, a feint. He notes that the Allies are clumsy, landing in a place with no major port, a tactical impossibility for a real invasion. He points to the map to Calais, where his panzers wait. The real attack, the expert assault, will come here. He orders the 116th Panzer Division to stand firm, to wait. He will not be fooled by this amateurish sideshow in Normandy. He is a professional, he is an expert, and he is the easiest man in the world to fool. The men dying on Omaha Beach have no idea that their lives depend on this one German general's arrogance. They have no idea that the impossible problem is not the machine gun in front of them, but the Panzer Division 200 miles away that is for some reason not moving. The expert Allied systems, the air forces, the battleships, the paratroopers, are all failing. The invasion is bleeding out. The beachhead will be destroyed by nightfall if those panzers move. But they do not move. They are frozen. They are paralyzed by a ghost. This is not the story of the battle for Normandy. This is the story of the battle for General von Salmuth's mind. This is the story of how that battle was won, not by a division of tanks or a fleet of bombers, but by one lone, unexpert radio operator, sitting in a damp tent in England, armed with nothing but a telegraph key and an audacious, world-changing lie. Let us rewind to 1943. Europe is a fortress. The Allies have decided they must re-enter the continent, and they must do it by force. The impossible problem is simple geography. To get an army ashore, you need to land on a beach. But to keep an army ashore, you need a port. A deep water port to unload the endless tons of fuel, ammunition, food, and men required to fight the Wehrmacht. The Germans know this. They are not fools. They are the Goliath of defensive warfare. Their expert, General Feldmarschall von Rundstedt, has studied the map. The only logical, expert place to land is Pas-de-Calais. It has the ports. It is the shortest distance from England. It is the only place a by-the-book invasion can succeed. And so he has placed his trump card there. The 15th Army, a massive force of infantry and, most importantly, the bulk of his elite panzer reserves. The Allies are trapped. They cannot land at Calais because it is the expert solution, and it is defended by the Goliath. They must land somewhere else. They choose Normandy. But Normandy is a crazy choice. It has no ports. The beaches are difficult. The entire plan relies on a gamble that the Allies can build their own impossible artificial harbors, the mulberries, after they land. This means their buildup will be slow, agonizingly slow. They will be vulnerable. For the first 48 hours, the beachhead will be a fragile, paper-thin line. If, in that time, Rundstedt's panzer divisions at Calais identify Normandy as the real threat and move south, they will hit the beachhead with overwhelming force. The panzers will be among the landing craft by D-Day +1. The invasion will be annihilated. The war will be lost. This is the impossible problem. The expert Allied solution is Operation Bodyguard. The TNT purists of the Allied command, the bomber generals and the battleship admirals believe in steel. Their plan is to physically isolate the battlefield. They will bomb every bridge, every railway, every road between Calais and Normandy. They will use the Air Force as a Goliath, a massive aerial sledgehammer to slow the panzers down. But this is a solution built on a flaw. It is a by-the-book plan that the Germans expect. Air power can delay a tank, but it cannot stop a determined Panzer Division. It can be grounded by bad weather. The panzers will still get through. It is not enough to physically stop them. The Allies must stop them from trying. They must not just bomb the bridges. They must bomb the German mind. The ticking clock is D-Day, set for the first week of June 1944. The entire weight of the Allied war effort, millions of men, tens of thousands of planes and ships, the fate of the free world rests on this one single fragile point. The Allies must land at Normandy. And they must, for at least 48 hours, convince the German experts at Calais to do absolutely nothing. They must convince a professional, arrogant, and intelligent Goliath that the largest amphibious invasion in human history, happening right in front of his eyes, is a fake. This is not a problem for a soldier. It is not a problem for a general. It is a problem for a magician. It is a problem for an unexpert, a tinkerer, a liar. The War Office and the Pentagon, the great expert organizations, have no solution. They are preparing for a bloodbath. The solution will have to come from a secret department, a group of men so strange, so unmilitary, that they are hidden from the rest of the army. Their weapon will not be a bullet. It will be a story. The solution comes from a group of men who are not soldiers. They are in fact the very last people the expert War Office would ever consult. They are the members of the London Controlling Section, or LCS. Their credentials are not military. They are theatrical. They are stockbrokers, lawyers, advertising executives, and most bizarrely, professional stage magicians. Their leader is a man named Colonel John Bevan, but the David at the heart of their operation is a man who, by any expert standard, should not exist. He is Juan Pujol Garcia. He is not a soldier. He is not British. He is a Spanish citizen, a former failed chicken farmer, and the manager of a one-star hotel in Madrid. He is a man who has failed at almost everything he has ever tried. He is the ultimate unexpert, the absolute David. Pujol is not driven by loyalty to Britain. He is driven by a passionate, almost pathological hatred of the Nazi regime. He sees them as the Goliath of ideological tyranny. He decides with the simple, impractical logic of a dreamer that he must do something to help humanity. His idea is simple. He will become a spy for the British. This is his eureka moment. It is not born of expert knowledge. It is born of pure, naive conviction. He has no military training. He has no connections. He has no experience. He has only one practical, on-the-ground observation that everyone else has missed. He has observed that experts are victims of their own arrogance. He believes the Nazis, the ultimate experts in their own superiority, will believe any lie, no matter how outlandish, as long as it confirms what they already believe. He goes to the British Embassy in Madrid. He presents his crazy idea. He, a Spanish hotel manager who speaks broken English, will become their master spy inside Germany. The expert Goliath of British intelligence, MI5, looks at him with baffled amusement. They are professionals. They recruit agents through established, by-the-book channels. They look for men with military connections, diplomatic access, or technical skills. Pujol is a nobody. He is a tinkerer, a romantic. He is, in their expert opinion, a loose cannon, and most likely, a crackpot. They dismiss him out of hand. They laugh him out of the building. They tell him to go back to his chickens. This is where the unlikely hero breaks the rules. Any expert would have given up. Pujol, the unexpert, sees this not as a failure, but as a minor logistical problem. The British will not hire him to spy for them. Fine, he will go to the Germans. He will get them to hire him to spy against the British. And he will do it so spectacularly, so impossibly, that the British will be forced to recruit him. It is an idea of such breathtaking, crazy audacity that no by-the-book mind could ever have conceived it. This is the unauthorized test. Pujol goes to the German embassy in Madrid. He presents himself as a fanatical fascist, a Spanish government official who hates the British and wants to help the Reich. The Germans, the Goliath of intelligence, are instantly intrigued. Their expert arrogance, their belief that everyone admires them, makes them the perfect mark. They do not vet him. They do not test him. They see what they want to see, an eager, ideologically pure expert who shares their worldview. They hire him immediately. They give him a crash course in secret ink, a codebook, and a new name, Agent Arabelle. His mission: go to England and build a spy network. This is where the crazy invention is born. Pujol does not go to England. He cannot. He has no visa. He moves to Lisbon, Portugal. He checks into a cheap hotel room. And from that room he invents Great Britain. He buys a blue guide to Britain, a tourist map, and a few English reference books and railway timetables. This is his scrap pile. This is his gimmick. He sits in his Lisbon hotel and begins to write. He invents his first unauthorized sub-agent, a Dutch KLM pilot who gives him information on air movements. Then he invents a second, a talkative corporal in a Glasgow barracks. Then a third, a Welsh nationalist in a munitions factory. He builds his crazy new tactic, his invention from pure unadulterated imagination. He creates an impossible network of 27 phantom agents. His reports are masterpieces of unexpert genius. They are not dry expert military analysis. They are stories. They are filled with vivid human details. He reports on a new type of British warship, which he gets from a drawing in a Jane's fighting ship's reference book. He reports on troop movements in the Midlands, which he invents based on the railway timetables. He even invents mundane, trivial details to make his network seem real. One agent has a gambling problem. Another is ill. Another is demanding more money. He is not just a spy. He is a novelist, a puppet master. He is building a world. The "it works" moment is staggering. The German Goliath, the Abwehr, swallows his shopping list of lies whole. They are not just convinced. They are thrilled. His reports are a sensation. They confirm everything the German experts already believe, that the British are disorganized, that their morale is low, that their security is a joke. Pujol is, in their expert opinion, the greatest spy they have ever had. They pay him thousands of reales. They flood him with requests for more information. They praise his expert network. They are, in fact, so baffled and impressed by this amateur that, in 1944, they will award him their highest honor for espionage, the Iron Cross. The unexpert chicken farmer has, single-handedly from a hotel room, with a tourist map, completely fooled the expert intelligence service of the Goliath. The test has a second, even more impossible validation. Back in England, at the by-the-book MI5 headquarters, the Goliath of Allied counterintelligence is in a panic. Their radio intercept station, Bletchley Park, has been picking up a series of encrypted German messages. The messages are from a high-level German agent in Britain, a man codenamed Arabelle, who seems to be running a massive, impossible spy network. This agent's reports are so detailed, so accurate-sounding that MI5 is terrified. They have a ghost in their midst. They tear the country apart looking for him. They check every port, every barracks, every factory mentioned in his reports. And they find nothing, no Dutch pilot, no Welsh nationalist, no gossiping corporal. The expert system is baffled. The ghost does not exist. The impossible problem is that the Germans have a master spy in Britain who is invisible. It is at this moment that Juan Pujol Garcia, his crazy test complete, walks back into the British embassy. He is no longer the crackpot. He is the man who isn't there. The experts at MI5, their faces a mixture of fury, bafflement, and awe, finally understand. This amateur, this tinkerer they had dismissed, has done what their entire expert organization could not. He has single-handedly invented and controlled the primary German spy network in Great Britain. They recruit him instantly. They fly him to England in a secret plane. They give him a new code name, GARBO. The unlikely hero has passed his test. The crazy idea, the invention of a fake network, is now proven. And now the LCS, the magicians and tinkerers, have their ultimate weapon. They have the man who holds the mind of the German Goliath in the palm of his hand. The stage is set. Operation Fortitude, the greatest deception in the history of warfare, can begin. The boardroom where this conflict plays out is not a single room, but the combined, agonizing, high-stakes meetings of Chef, the supreme headquarters of the Allied Expeditionary Force. The Goliath in this fight is not a German general. It is the Allied expert military mind itself. It is personified by men like General Omar Bradley, a soldier's soldier. Bradley is a man of math, of logistics, of divisions, and of steel. He is a by-the-book infantryman, and he is planning the expert assault on Omaha Beach. He knows with mathematical certainty that his men will face a meat grinder. He needs every tank, every plane, every man, and every bullet for the real invasion. Into this world of grim, Expert mathematics steps the unlikely hero cadre, the magicians of the London controlling section, and the tinkerers of the newly formed 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. They do not come asking for tanks or bullets. They come asking for rubber. They present their crazy idea, Operation Fortitude. Their plan is to take GARBO's unexpert Chu gimmick and amplify it 1,000 times. They will not just tell the Germans a lie. They will show them. They will create an entire phantom army, the first U.S. Army Group, or FUSAG. This David of an army will be a scrap pile of inflatable rubber tanks, wooden airplanes, and dummy landing craft. It will be stationed in Kent, directly opposite Pas-de-Calais. Bradley, the expert Goliath, is appalled. He sees the plan as a circus, a stupid, childish fantasy. He argues with perfect by-the-book logic that the Germans are not fools. They are professionals. They have aerial reconnaissance. They will fly over Kent. They will see the impossible rubber tanks and they will laugh. And in that moment, the gimmick will not just fail. It will backfire catastrophically. It will be a giant illuminated sign pointing straight at Normandy. It will tell the Germans with absolute certainty that the real invasion must be elsewhere. He insists that this crazy idea is not just a waste of resources. It is a suicide pact, an open invitation for the panzers to be at Normandy on D-Day. The boardroom conflict is a battle of philosophies. Bradley, the expert, believes the Germans can be beaten only with steel. The LCS, the unexperts, believe they can be beaten with story. The magicians have a trump card. They know the Goliath's mind. They know the Germans are not just experts. They are arrogant experts. They are blinded by their own prejudice. They expect the invasion at Calais. The rubber tanks, the magicians argue, are not the real show. They are just the stage dressing. The real performance will be a symphony of fake radio traffic, a gimmick designed to feed the German expert ear. And in a final impossible request, they ask for the one thing Bradley and the experts cannot bear to spare. They ask for General George S. Patton. This is the ultimate unexpert insight. The Germans, they argue, do not just fear the Allied army. They fear Patton. They see him as the Allies' Goliath, their greatest expert brawler and tank commander. If the experts in OKW are to believe in a fake army, it must be commanded by a real general. They must put their best actor on the stage. Bradley is apoplectic. This is not just a circus. It is madness. To take Patton, a real Army Group commander, out of the real invasion plan and assign him to a phantom command of inflatable toys? It is, to his expert mind, the single most stupid, irresponsible, and ungentlemanly idea of the entire war. He fights it. He argues that it is a betrayal of the men who will die on the beaches. The gamble falls to one man, Dwight D. Eisenhower. He is the supreme commander. He is not a TNT purist or a by-the-book brawler. He is a strategist, a man who has to stare at the impossible problem, the panzers at Calais. He has seen the casualty estimates for Omaha. He knows, in his gut, that Bradley's expert steel and the Air Force's expert bombing will not be enough. The impossible problem of the panzers must be solved. He makes the damn the rules decision. He overrules Bradley. He sides with the magicians. He gives them Patton. He authorizes the crazy idea. He signs the order for Operation Fortitude. He is gambling the entire invasion, the fate of the war, on the unexpert gimmick of a Spanish chicken farmer and a circus of rubber tanks. The unlikely hero system is unleashed. The gamble is on. The 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, the Ghost Army, move into Kent. They are an unexpert unit, composed not of soldiers, but of artists, sound engineers, and advertising designers. They begin their crazy work. They inflate their impossible army. Hundreds of rubber tanks are parked in fields. Wooden airplanes are lined up on fake airfields. But the real invention, the genius of the plan, is the sound. The tinkerers set up massive speakers in the woods, blasting the expert sounds of a real army, the rumble of tank columns, the shouts of NCOs, the clank of engineering units. It is a performance, a piece of theater on a national scale. And at the center of this impossible web is the David himself, Agent GARBO, Juan Pujol Garcia. He is now the most important man in the Allied deception plan. His phantom network of 27 unexpert agents is the chosen instrument. He is given his script. He must invent FUSAG for the Germans. He begins to send his fake messages. From his small secret radio room, the chicken farmer begins to report to his expert Goliath handlers in the Abwehr. He tells them of a new massive army gathering in Kent. He reports on the unit insignias. He has seen on the soldiers' shoulders insignias invented by the designers of the Ghost Army. He reports on the aggressive new commander of this army. Patton the Goliath reacts exactly as the magicians predicted. The German expert mind, blinded by its own arrogance, does not question the fake reports. Why would they? Their greatest spy, Agent Arabelle, their Iron Cross winner, is confirming exactly what their own expert analysis already told them. Of course the invasion is at Calais. Of course it is led by Patton. The crazy idea is working. The unexperty gimmick is not being laughed at. It is being believed. The impossible problem is beginning to crack. The ticking clock is now hours away. D-Day, June 5th, 1944. The largest fleet in history is gathering in the Channel, sailing not for Calais but for Normandy. In his headquarters, General von Salmuth, the expert commander of the 15th Army, receives GARBO's fake reports. He receives the reports of the phantom radio traffic from Fusag. He stares at his map. He is supremely confident. He is ready for Patton. He is ready for the real invasion at Calais. His 600 panzers of the 116th Division, the Goliath Fist, are polished, fueled, and pointed at the Calais beaches. They are waiting for an expert battle. And 200 miles away, the real invasion, the amateur David of an invasion, is about to land on the impossible beaches of Normandy, completely undefended by the armored Goliath that was meant to destroy it. The gamble is set. The trap is sprung. The time is 0300 June 6, 1944. The English Channel is a black, churning mass of steel. The largest fleet ever assembled is driving through the dark, aimed not at the expert target of Calais, but at the impossible beaches of Normandy. In his headquarters at Pas-de-Calais, General Hans von Salmuth, commander of the 15th Army, is asleep. He is confident. He is an expert, and his Goliath of a force, the 116th Panzer Division, is polished, fueled, and waiting for the real battle. Then the reports begin. A radio man wakes him, his face pale. There are reports of paratroopers. Then more reports. Airborne landings, thousands of them near Caen and Carentan. Then at dawn, the impossible report. A massive fleet, thousands of ships, is bombarding the coast of Normandy. Von Salmuth stands over his map, a cup of coffee in his hand. He is not panicked. He is baffled, but only by the sheer amateur stupidity of the Allied plan. He listens to the frantic reports of landings at Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, Sword. He looks at his chief of staff. He scoffs. He tells the man that this is the most clumsy diversion in military history. He points to the map. Normandy has no deep-water port. It is a by-the-book impossibility for a main invasion. The expert Goliath mind cannot process it. He is a professional, and professionals do not make such stupid mistakes. This, he concludes, is a feint, a crazy sacrifice designed to draw his panzers, the Goliath's fist, south. He will not be fooled. He orders the 15th Army and its panzers to stand fast. They will wait for the real invasion. The expert invasion, the one led by Patton at Calais, 200 miles away on Omaha Beach. The by-the-book American infantry are not a feint. They are a sacrifice. They are dying. The expert naval bombardment has failed. The men of the 1st Infantry Division are being cut to pieces by German machine guns. The buzzsaws of the 352nd Infantry Division, a unit the expert Allied intelligence had not even known was there. The beach is a red-tinged charnel house. The men are pinned. They are victims. The Goliath of the Atlantic Wall is chewing them up. The beachhead, the entire D-Day gamble, is collapsing. General Omar Bradley, the expert Goliath on the command ship USS Augusta, stares in fury and despair. He knows, with the expert certainty of a TNT purist, that if the panzers at Calais move, the invasion is over. The war is lost. His men are dying for nothing. The impossible problem is at its breaking point. This is the moment. The climax of the crazy idea. The unlikely hero's Haas tactic must now work, or the world will fall. In a small, damp, secret radio room in southern England, the unexpert David sits at his desk. Juan Pujol Garcia, Agent GARBO, the failed chicken farmer, is about to become the single most important man in the world. His British handlers from the LCS, the magicians, rush in. They are not calm. They are terrified. The gimmick has worked too well. The Germans are so convinced that Calais is the target, they are ignoring the real invasion. But now GARBO must perform his masterpiece. He must not just confirm their belief. He must cement it. He must, in the face of the largest real invasion in history, convince the Goliath that it is fake. GARBO's fake message, the one that will validate the title of this story, is a work of unexpert genius. He does not just send a report, he performs. He gets on his radio key at 0800. He sends a frantic message to his expert handlers in the Abwehr. He tells them, his phantom agents confirming, that the landings at Normandy are a diversionary maneuver. He reports, with impossible inside knowledge, that this attack is intended to draw off the Goliath's reserves, to clear the path for the real expert assault. And then, the masterstroke of the crazy idea. He tells them that this phantom army, Fusag, commanded by the Goliath Patton, is still in Kent, that it has not moved, and that it is preparing to strike the real target, Pas-de-Calais. The Goliath's bafflement is total. The expert mind of the German High Command, from von Salmuth to Rundstedt, and all the way to Hitler himself, receives GARBO's message. It is the "it works" moment on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend. The experts are not fooled by the unexpert. They are validated by him. Their greatest spy, their Iron Cross winner, their man on the inside, has confirmed exactly what their own arrogant, by-the-book prejudice already told them. The crazy idea, the phantom army, the rubber tanks, and the fake message from the chicken farmer have just dismantled the expert German war machine. The panzers at Calais do not move. The tactic is proven decisively in combat. The combat is the Goliath's paralysis. For the next critical 48 hours, the Goliath does nothing. The 116th Panzer Division, 600 expert tanks, sits, engines idling, chasing the ghost of Patton. They are on a wild goose chase for a phantom army. They are expertly defending an empty stretch of beach from an army of rubber. This paralysis, bought by the unexpert Eliar, is just enough. The victims on Omaha Beach, by sheer bloody-minded courage, break through. The impossible beachhead, which should have been dismantled in hours, holds, but the climax of the fake message is not over. The Goliath's arrogance begins to turn to panic. By D+2, D+3, even the experts in OKW can see that the diversion in Normandy is massive. General Feldmarschall von Rundstedt, the expert Goliath in charge, finally cracks. He gambles. He requests permission from Hitler to move the 15th Army. He wants to send the panzers to Normandy. This is the boardroom conflict at its most extreme. The unexpert's gimmick is about to fail. Once again, the unlikely hero is called. GARBO must save the invasion again. He sends another impossible, fake message. This time, it is one of fury and urgency. He reports to the Abwehr that the diversion in Normandy has shaken the Allies. He reports that Patton is furious. He reports that the Fusag Phantom Army is now on high alert in Kent, ready to launch the real attack on Calais at any moment. The Goliath, Hitler himself, reads this expert Amwarish intelligence from his best spy. He believes it. He makes the by-the-book, arrogant decision. He denies Rundstedt's request. The panzers, he orders, must stay at Calais. The unexpert has personally dismantled the expert command structure of the Reich. And this is the title validation. This is the wild goose chase. Days later, when the Goliath is finally convinced that Normandy is the real battle, it is too late. The Allies are ashore. The beachhead is secure. The expert solution has failed. And when the 116th Panzer Division, the Goliath's fist, is finally released from Calais, its expert commanders are still baffled. They are still terrified of Patton's ghosts. Their orders are a crazy mess of confusion and panic instead of driving straight for the impossible beachhead. They are routed on a wild goose chase, a 200-mile detour around the main battle, still expertly guarding their flank against the phantom army that GARBO invented. The fake message, the crazy gimmick of an unexpert, has not just pinned an expert Goliath. It has sent an entire Panzer Division on a 200-mile, wild goose chase, dismantling it as a fighting force before it ever fired a shot. The tactic is proven. The unlikely hero has won the battle for D-Day, when the war was finally over, and the experts of the German High Command were prisoners of the Allies. The full, impossible truth of the Goliath's humiliation came to light. The baffled after-action reports of men like Hans von Salmuth were dismantled and revealed to be the product of a circus. The fury of the expert German generals was boundless. They learned that the Phantom Army Fusag, the Goliath they had expertly defended against, had never existed. They learned that the impossible armada of tanks and planes they had seen in Kent was in fact an army of rubber and wood. They, the masters of the expert de Blitzkrieg, the professionals of modern warfare, had been fooled, paralyzed, and dismantled by a David made of inflatable toys. But the deepest, most impossible humiliation was the Goliath's reaction to the unlikely hero himself. When the records of the Abwehr, their expert intelligence service, were captured, the Allies found the files for Agent Arabelle. They found a man their enemy, Goliath, considered to be their greatest spy. They found a man who had been personally awarded the Iron Cross by the experts in Berlin for his genius in inventing a fake network that had fooled the British. The Goliath had, in its arrogance, applauded, funded, and decorated the very unexpert gimmick that was, at that exact moment, dismantling their entire war effort. The fury in Berlin was so total that the Abwehr, the expert Goliath of German intelligence, was disbanded in panic, its leaders executed or imprisoned. The unexpert chicken farmer had not just fooled an expert organization, he had destroyed it. And what of the humble hero? What of the David at the center of the web, Juan Pujol Garcia, Agent GARBO? He was perhaps the only man in history to be a hero to both sides of the Goliath conflict. The British, in secret, made him a member of the Order of the British Empire. The Germans, in public, had already given him their Iron Cross. He was the impossible man, the unexpert who had mastered both expert systems. But after the impossible victory, he did not seek the expert accolades. He was a David, not a Goliath. He was terrified that surviving experts from the Nazi regime, their pride dismantled, would hunt him down. So he broke the rules one last time. With the help of the magicians at MI5, he invented a new fake story. He faked his own death. He vanished. The greatest spy of the war died of a fever in Angola. In reality, the humble hero returned to the farm. He moved to Venezuela, erased his identity, and went back to a quiet life. He ran a bookstore. He tinkered with a small business. The unexpert chicken farmer, the man who wasn't there, the ghost who had saved the D-Day landings and fooled the Goliath, simply disappeared. The morale of this impossible story is not about steel. It is not about the expert mathematics of the TNT purists. It is the lesson that the arrogant expert is the easiest man in the world to fool. The Goliath of the German High Command was not defeated by a bigger Goliath. It was dismantled by a crazy idea that it could not imagine. The experts laughed at the idea of a rubber tank because their by-the-book arrogance blinded them. They believed the fake message because it confirmed what their expert prejudice already told them. The lesson is that the human mind is the true battlefield. The lesson is that deception, story, and imagination are weapons more powerful than a Panzer Division. It is the lesson that the unlikely hero, the David with no credentials, the tinkerer, the poacher, the chicken farmer, will always defeat the Goliath because the Goliath is imprisoned by his own expertise, and this crazy, unexpert gimmick is the final legacy. This is the full circle. The circus that the expert General Bradley laughed at is now the new expert Goliath doctrine of the modern U.S. Army. The Ghost Army, the unexpert, artists and sound engineers, has a direct descendant. It is called the 4th Psychological Operations Group, PSYOPs. The tinkerers and magicians of the LCS have evolved into the expert Goliath of information warfare, the fake message of the unlikely. Hero radio operator is now the expert. By the book and tactic of cyber warfare, of digital deception, the crazy idea of fooling the Goliath before the battle begins, of dismantling his mind before his tanks. A move is now the central lesson taught at West Point. The unexpert and gimmick of the chicken farmer has become the new expert art of war.